They won't believe in you, not at first. They'll look at your dreams the way a man looks at a crumpled blueprint in a storm, doubtful, dismissive, like it belongs in the fire rather than the foundation of something real. But here's what they don't understand. You don't need their belief. You need yours, because belief, true, unshakable belief, is the spark behind every empire ever built, every revolution ever fought, and every soul that refused to kneel when the world demanded it. Before there was the light bulb, there was 1,000 failures in the dark. Before there was a Walt Disney World, there was a man told he lacked imagination. Before Ford changed the world, he was ridiculed by bankers who said, "The horse is here to stay." They all heard the same whispers. "You're not enough. It can't be done. Who do you think you are?" And yet, they moved forward, because there's a law of life not written in books, but carved into the hearts of those who refuse to bow. The world bends, eventually, to the will of the relentless, not the brilliant, not the wealthy, not the connected, the relentless. And at the center of that relentlessness is belief, the kind that doesn't flinch when it's mocked, doesn't break when it's bruised, and doesn't vanish when the lights go out. We were not born to be doubters. That was learned. We were not born to play small. That was conditioned. Look at a child before the world's voices crowd in. They don't ask, "Can I?" They leap, they climb, they fall, and they get back up with fire in their eyes, not shame in their heart. That's belief before the world got its hands on it. Now ask yourself, what have you let the world talk you out of? What dreams died in the silence of your hesitation? What visions did you bury just to fit into a cage built by other people's fears? It ends now, because belief is not just a feeling. It is not a motivational quote. It is a decision, a declaration of war against mediocrity. You either choose to believe in your vision with all you've got, or you accept a life dictated by those who never believed in anything at all. You want clarity. It begins with belief. You want momentum. It's powered by belief. You want to reshape your life, your income, your legacy. Then you must become the kind of person who can say, "I don't care how long it takes. I will become who I was born to be." Belief is the quiet voice that says, "Keep going," when every voice around you screams, "Give up." But it's not soft. It is forged in fire. Every early morning when no one sees your grind, that's belief. Every late night when doubt creeps in, but you keep working anyway, that's belief. Every no you turn into fuel, that's belief in motion. And belief is contagious, not the surface level kind that lives in hashtags and hollow words. I'm talking about the belief that radiates from your eyes, the kind that makes people pause, not because you're loud, but because you're certain. Churchill once said, "To each there comes in their lifetime a moment when they are figuratively tapped on the shoulder and offered the chance to do something extraordinary. What a tragedy if that moment finds them unprepared." The preparation isn't in talent, it's in conviction. Because when belief takes root in your bones, you start moving like the outcome is already written, like success is inevitable, not because it's guaranteed, but because you've decided to make it so. You stop waiting for motivation. You become it. You stop seeking permission. You write your own damn license. You stop playing defense. And you go to war for your destiny. The world will test you. It will throw storms your way, not to destroy you, but to reveal you. Because what you build on weak belief collapses. But what you build on unshakable belief becomes legend. Think of every moment you've ever doubted yourself. Now ask, did that doubt ever build anything? Did it ever create momentum, confidence, results? Number, it froze you, shrunk you, lied to you. Doubt is the thief of destiny. Belief is its bodyguard, and you get to choose which one you feed. The mind is a battlefield. Every thought you think is a soldier. Belief arms them. Doubt disarms them. If you want to build anything, a business, a career, a life worth remembering, you better show up to that battlefield with an army that refuses to retreat. There will be days when the enemy is louder than your voice. There will be moments when results don't match your effort. But belief isn't about seeing results now. It's about becoming the kind of person who can't be stopped, regardless. Because when you're possessed by belief, you can be broke, tired, mocked, and still look in the mirror and say, "We're not done yet." That's the voice of an unbreakable man. That's the rhythm of an unstoppable woman. That's the beginning of every empire. You don't have to have all the answers. You just need to believe you'll find them. You don't have to be the best right now. You just need to believe you can become it. You don't have to be fearless. You just need to believe you're stronger than your fear. Because here's what no one tells you. The people who make history are rarely the ones who started ready. They're the ones who started anyway, because belief said, "Let's go." And belief is never neutral. It demands you rise. It pulls you out of comfort, out of hiding, out of maybe someday. And it shoves you into the fire where legends are made. Fire reveals what's real. It burns away the unnecessary, the illusions, the shallow commitments. And what remains, what refuses to melt, is who you truly are. Belief that survives the fire becomes conviction. Conviction that survives time becomes legacy. That's how nations are built. That's how movements are born. That's how individuals, unknown and unseen, rise into the pages of history. You don't need everyone to see it now. You don't even need them to agree. You just need one thing: to be willing to walk forward when no one else will. To keep going when applause turns into silence, to believe so deeply in your vision that quitting becomes impossible, unthinkable, absurd, because you weren't made to live a life of what if. You weren't made to carry your dreams to the graveyard of excuses and regrets. You were made to stand tall, even when you're trembling, to speak the truth of your purpose, even if your voice shakes, to rise, even when rising hurts. Look around. The world is full of people who gave up on themselves. Don't join them. Don't hand your future over to fear just because it showed up dressed like logic. Fear will say, play it safe. Belief will say, play it forward. Fear will demand evidence before effort. Belief puts in the work and dares the universe to catch up. Fear builds walls. Belief builds bridges between who you are now and who you're becoming. And here's the truth: most people never admit. You will never be ready. Not fully, not perfectly, because growth doesn't wait for permission. It waits for a spark. And belief is that spark. You see, we live in a world where it's easier to be cynical than courageous, where sarcasm is mistaken for intelligence and skepticism for strength. But belief, raw, real, unfiltered belief, that's rare, that's power, and that's why it works. It's not delusion to believe in what isn't yet visible. It's vision. It's not arrogance to bet on yourself. It's accountability. Churchill didn't say, "We will try our best." He said, we shall never surrender. Not because he was naive, but because he understood that belief isn't the absence of obstacles. It is the resolve to outlast them. Do you hear that? That rising feeling in your chest? That's the sound of your soul remembering who you were before the world told you to shrink. And that's the part of you we need, not the conditioned version, not the realistic one, the original, the version of you that still believes the impossible is only impossible until one person makes it real. So wake it up, speak to it, tell it, we're not done. Tell it, I've let too many days slip through my hands like sand. No more. Tell it, I'm done pretending I don't care. I do, deeply, and belief responds to truth. You don't inspire the world by pretending you're fine. You inspire them by rising when you're not. You inspire them by showing that belief is not just for those with comfort, wealth, or privilege. It is the birthright of anyone bold enough to claim it. So claim it. And when they ask you what changed, tell them the truth. I stopped waiting to believe in myself until the world gave me proof. I gave the world proof because I believed in myself. There's no secret formula, no magic bullet. It's belief followed by action, followed by persistence, again and again, until the door opens, or you build a better one. This is the pattern of every great life, from the prisons where Mandela dreamed of freedom, to the garages where Jobs built machines to change the future, to the silent rooms where Lincoln wept before he led a fractured nation. The pattern is the same. Believe, building, bleed, become. You want purpose? It begins in belief. You want discipline, strengthen belief. You want transformation, surrender to belief and become obsessed with what's possible. Because here's the secret they don't teach in school. The world doesn't give you what you want. It gives you who you are. And who you are is shaped by what you believe every single day. So if you believe you're average, you'll act average. If you believe you're not worthy, you'll sabotage your worth. If you believe success is for them, not you, you'll live your life watching from the sidelines, applauding players who were never more capable than you, just more committed. But if you believe you are meant for more and you act like it, walk like it, speak like it, life begins to shift. Not immediately, not magically, but undeniably. That's the power of unshakable belief. It turns time into an ally, pain into preparation, failure into feedback, and resistance into fuel. So don't run from the struggle. Rise into it. Don't fear the critics. Outlast them. Don't chase perfection. Pursue progress with fire in your eyes and steel in your spine. Because one day when the noise quiets, when the world turns its head, you'll be standing in the life you once imagined, and no one will have to ask how you got there. They'll feel it. They'll know it. Because the ones who believed when no one else did, they walk different. They walk different because they are different. You feel it when they enter the room. Not arrogance, not noise, but presence. A quiet certainty, a fire that doesn't flicker with opinion or praise, because by then they've already walked through the fire. They've faced nights where the silence screamed louder than failure. They've stared down uncertainty without blinking. They've heard the voice that says, "You're not enough," and answered, "Watch me." That's what belief becomes when it's tested. Not blind faith, but forged certainty. You don't get that by reading books. You get it by living, by choosing. Every time you refuse to quit, belief sharpens. Every time you keep building, even when no one claps, belief deepens. Every time you fall and get back up, not for others, but for yourself, belief becomes identity. And that is when you become unstoppable. Because when belief becomes your identity, success isn't something you chase. It's something you attract. Not because you're lucky, but because the world has no defense against someone who refuses to stop showing up. Let them laugh. Let them doubt. Let them underestimate you. Just remember, no one remembers the critics. They remember the ones who created, who stood, who believed. That's the legacy of every great leader and every fulfilled soul. Not the perfect, not the privileged, but the believers. The ones who, like Churchill, stood on the edge of despair and still roared, "This will not be our end." The ones who, like Lincoln, carried the burden of a nation's soul through war and grief because they believed in unity over comfort. The ones who, like Oprah, like Jobs, like King, like Keller, were told no again and again, and turned it into a weapon called yes anyway. So what's stopping you? Not your past, not your mistakes, not your circumstances. Only the voice that says, "Maybe I'm not ready." That voice is a liar. You were born ready, maybe not to have it all figured out, but to walk, to fight, to grow, to transform. And you don't need a grand beginning. You need a relentless middle. You need mornings where you wake up tired but show up anyway. Nights where you're overlooked but still prepare for the spotlight. Seasons where nothing works but you build like everything will. Because the greats aren't defined by their wins. They're defined by the war they fought within. And belief is the weapon. Not the flashy kind, the quiet kind, the one you sharpen every single day with action, repetition, and refusal to quit. So choose it. Choose belief when doubt shows up wearing a suit and tie, sounding reasonable. Choose belief when your bank account says no, but your vision screams yes. Choose belief when your friends stop calling, when the followers stop growing, when the results pause. Because that's when belief matters most. That's when you become the kind of person who can no longer be bought, broken, or bent. And that kind of person wins. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but inevitably. Because belief isn't fast. It's final. When you decide, truly decide, that your life will matter, belief doesn't ask how. It gets to work. It rewires your words. I can't becomes watch me. It's too late becomes it's time. I'm afraid becomes let's go anyway. It rewires your standards. You stop tolerating half-effort, small talk, and safe plans. You build sharper mornings, quieter nights, cleaner goals. You stop scrolling and start studying. Stop waiting and start moving. Stop performing and start transforming, because belief demands evidence, not for others, but for you. And the moment you show yourself what you're made of, you stop negotiating with excuses. You stop making decisions from fear and start making them from vision. You stop asking, what's the cost? And start asking, what's the consequence if I don't? Because regret is a heavier burden than risk. You know it. You've felt it. The sting of almost, the ache of potential unfulfilled. You don't need more time. You need more truth. And the truth is, every great life was once a mess wrapped in discipline, vision, and belief. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not done. You are becoming. You are building. You are proving silently, consistently, that belief alone is not enough. But belief backed by action can move mountains. So here's the final truth. You don't find power. You remember it. You don't find your purpose. You uncover it beneath the rubble of fear, laziness, and excuses. You don't wait for belief. You build it. One decision, 1 hour, one non-negotiable standard at a time. And when you do, when belief becomes your language, your rhythm, your bloodline, nothing, and I mean nothing, can stop you. So walk tall, not because you've arrived, but because you know where you're going. Speak with fire, not because you have all the answers, but because you've decided to never silence your own voice again, and live with such fierce conviction that the world has no choice but to watch, to feel, and to believe, not just in you, but in themselves. That is the power of unshakable belief. That is how legends are made.